5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglosh for the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. Let's dig in and, oh heck, let's do a Papa John's commercial with Shaq. Shaq wanted to share his new pizza with the world. Low budget, Zoom meeting. But in shelter in place, he couldn't be there in person.
Pizza's here.
Pizza's here. They put a TV in the box.
Hello, how are you?
Live stream. How cool is that?
How are you, little princess?
What are you doing in a box?
I'm a board member and a store owner at Papa John's, and this is my brand new piece of the Shaq-a-Roni. Just by ordering the Shaq-a-Roni, $1 from each pizza is donated to Papa John's Foundation to support communities, COVID relief, the fight against racial injustice, Boys and Girls Club of America, and general community involvement.
I love it. That's awesome.
That's amazing.
And you know, unlike some of the other charities you might want
You guys smiling?
to donate to that go right into political fundraising, that will go back into communities. So I'm all in for putting money back in your community. Take it or leave it. Or fund some big political action committee. That's the way it is. That's the reality of the world. Okay, let's go back to the PDF. And Zuckerberg says, the advertisers will be back soon enough. It's like, who cares if they're boycotting us? Where else are they going to go, right? Everybody's on Facebook to see the baby pictures, which I love, right? It's the only reason I go there. And I have this friend in San Francisco who posts artwork and other alternative political views to my own. So I fact check her and she fact checks me. And we're still friends, good friends, I would say. And she makes the greatest limoncello, but with grapefruit, a grapefruit tree in her backyard. So they're going to have a meeting. But Zuckerberg said, you know, he's walking this tightrope, and if you start boxing out some views, you box out others, and nobody's happy, and that's the truth. And so, you know, you got to be a little gentle about this, and I think he's doing a pretty great job, actually. And if in doubt, leave it in is my motto, because heck, they start boxing out old white guys, I'm dead. I might be dead soon anyway. So, you know, enjoy me while you can. Anyway, California says they're going to begin enforcing the new privacy law. And one thing that means is today it says we will be enforcing the California Consumer Privacy Act, CCPA. We encourage every Californian to know their rights to internet privacy and every business to know its responsibilities. The website of every business covered by law must now post a link on its homepage that says, "Do not sell my personal information." And, you know, the way these have gone in the past, you know, I can put up a button that says that. Boink. Maybe some stars go off. But it doesn't really do anything and everyone ignores it. So I'm guessing they're thinking that maybe it has to actually have a function. It's not enough to put the button on the page. But so far it says just put the button. And my take of marketing people is there'll be buttons on all the pages. I don't know if mine applies or not. I get like 3 views a month, so I'm probably not in jeopardy right at the moment. So it says that there's $2,500 to $7,500 per violation. That would be my whole WDMA budget for the year. Actually, more than that. The companies are required to honor a universal do not sell mechanism. Problem is there isn't a universal do not sell mechanism. Problem number 1. Problem number 2. The California legislature did not include browser-based signal requirements, even though they had the chance. So if you're going to enforce the law, which says we're going to enforce the new privacy law, there is no requirement in the law of a browser button. That's a regulation that some people added later, and it hasn't been ratified or finalized. So they can start enforcing it, but I don't know how they're going to do it. Browsers have offered do not track signals for years. But they don't prevent those. They're widely ignored. Though the law is now enforceable, the regulations aren't enforceable. So I don't know what they're going to enforce, and I don't think anybody does either. But as usual, it's legal grandstanding to make you worried. Luckily, you heard that here. This is not legal advice, by the way. Nothing I say can constitute legal advice or investment advice. Bose, this was interesting. Now, why would anybody need privacy legislation? Apparently, and I didn't highlight this one, Bose keeps track of what you listen to. It gathers information. Let's get the highlighter going. Gathers information about the names of tracks played through outside apps like Spotify, then transmits the data to outside company Segment IO. So they know, what if you're listening to Joe Rogan? What if you're listening, he's radical. What if you're listening to Jordan Peterson doing a Bible study? Then we know you're alt-right. Oh my goodness. We can classify you till the day is done. Anyway, so why would we worry? Your devices are spying on you, your refrigerator, your TV, your headphones. Who would have thought? And the irony is, I use wired headphones. I still have a phone with a phone jack in it. I'm pretty sure those headphones are not smart enough to be spying on me. Now, Google probably is, but you've turned all that off. They can still spy on you through your wireless headphones. They wiretap through wireless. How cool is that? Anyway. Okay, here's an interesting one. Consumer optimism is a lie. Yeah, okay. And they argue that consumers are lying to themselves about optimism. Americans are 5.6, I love when they quantify this stuff, 5.6 times more hopeful than they are optimistic. Optimistic, not many. And you can't compare percentages, negative percentages, to positive ones. There's an infinite difference between negative, like if this were 0.1, 0.01, the denominator and the numerator would give you an almost infinite differential, even though in terms of the multiplier or the percentage. Never mind, who cares? Anyway, so these guys came up with this new clustering system, which may have profound implications. No, it doesn't. It's just grouping together sentiment that may or may not even exist. I get so tired of marketers with their hype and their hyperbole and their gobbledygook. So they came up with these 5 groups. I always like 4. North, south, east, west. It's so much easier to keep in mind. 5 is tough to make circles. It looks like the Olympics. The trapped, the need to be gamified or distracted. And there aren't much sports, but I've taken up the UFC, and it's really great. They'll be the most receptive to messages that show a return to normalcy. The defeated, a need to be inspired. They're less receptive to social good, COVID relief messages, but highly receptive to fitness, beauty, and wellness brands messaging. They're defeated. Why would they care? I don't know. Never mind. I can't even read through this. It's such a... Well, I'll tell you what. So, optimism may be a lie, but so is pessimism. And that's the truth, right? That's the truth. The truth is, you don't know what you don't know. You don't know the future. And so that brings us to CEOs versus CMOs. Marketers remain the gimlet-eyed optimists. Gimlet-eyed. I didn't really know a good definition of gimlet-eyed. So I looked it up, and it says, having penetrating and piercing eyes and seemingly to notice everything. That's a pretty nice thing. I thought it was a bad thing. It sounded like they're dopey to be optimistic. Okay? But I think marketers are kind of paid to be optimistic. And they're paid to predict the future. Whereas the CFOs are paid to sort out the past and try to keep the marketers in check. Sharon Robeson at Cabela's used to say, every boat needs a sail and an anchor. And that's a perfect metaphor for this. The marketing people are the sail. They drive the boat along fast as they can. But sometimes in a storm, you reef the sails and you drop the anchor to hold on for dear life. And the cruisers I follow on YouTube say the anchor might be their most important piece of gear. So don't minimize the anchor. But, the CFOs are thinking double dip, double in disease outbreak. I mean, I had a CFO guy. We called him the president, but he was an ex-accounting guy from Arthur Young or something. And he was always telling us, well, you can't count on this client. They could cancel tomorrow. And sometimes they did, and sometimes they didn't. And he was kind of dour all the time. And, to be honest, I would have been the defeated if I would have listened to him more than a little. But he ran the books. He wasn't as careful with the money as I would have liked in hindsight after he left. Like we were paying equivalent of our whole payroll now in health insurance because we had really good health insurance because he ended up getting cancer. Which may have been self-interested. I don't know. But anyway, so here's the weird part. Here's the data. 60% of CEOs believe there will be a U-shaped recession, which means basically a comeback, while 22% believe in the double dip. So even though this summary of Gartner data says that the CEOs are pessimistic, they're kind of balanced. They're way more optimistic than pessimistic, right? And almost as much as the consumers are. Okay, so they argue in this Centers for Gartner for Marketers, CMOs are significantly out of step. The CFOs are turning their attention to profitability, and marketing has the dubious honor of topping the list of functions where finance will look to trim expenses even further. Let's take down the sales and see if we make it to shore. You will, but not necessarily where you want to land. Okay, 73% of CMOs expect the impact to be short-lived. Now, my clients, most of them, the main problem has been keeping merchandise in the warehouse because they're selling so much. I told them, this is going to be good for you. It was better than imagined. Now we're going to try and figure out how good the customers are that turned up over the transom. We're going to use ship metaphors today. Okay, so whether you're optimistic or pessimistic, Mark Ritson pointed out that spending while others are not spending is about the only way to gain market share. So your opportunity is quickly evaporating. After that, you'll be spending just to stay even with the fleet. After that, you'll fall behind the people that continue to market, continue to show up for work, and continue to wave their own flag and say, hey, we're worth listening to. Now, here's an interesting one. Brand strategies topped the list ahead of marketing analytics. And what I thought was interesting is, despite the primacy of data-driven marketing for many recent years, many organizations can't even build rudimentary analytics capabilities. Most, if not all, can't. Secondly, personalization, which MarTech vendors have pitched aggressively for years, works well, this is a great quote, works well in PowerPoint, but not so well in the world of real things. Who's been telling you this literally for decades, but especially lately on this live stream? Personalization is very difficult. I spent years with Musician's Friend trying to make it work. People are tricky. The things that you want them to buy, they don't buy, and the things that you haven't really pitched, they will buy. Just ask yourself this one question. What am I going to buy next? What did I buy last? Why? Ask yourself that question over and over when you buy things. When you're at the cash register, think, Why did I buy this? A lot of times it's an impulse item, or you suddenly remembered that you ran out of it last time you needed it. And you couldn't have predicted that when you walked in the door. Anyway, 85% of marketers will abandon their personalization efforts by 2025 due to lack of ROI and the perils of data management. Right. Works best in aggregate, doesn't work in individual people. Marketers are doubling down on their MarTech investments, at least for now. MarTech will constitute 26% of marketing budgets in 2020. Okay, here's a tip for you. Watch my webinar. I posted it on pretty much every marketing group yesterday. It's about AI, ROI, how to maximize ROI in chaos. We're in chaotic times. Nobody knows the future. Buy something proven and expand on it. Buy something where you know something for sure and expand on it. That's the way you learned as a child. We all learn that way. Changing everything means you'll know nothing. I'm John Miglash. Like and share. Your friends will think you're smart. Have a great day. Bye-bye.